play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. The energy of desperation inherently victimizes you. You can't be empowered and desperate at the same time because desperation reeks of lack. It means you don't have. That wanting, that yearning is all an indication of what you feel like you don't have.
If this principal princess of people pleasing can get over it, trust me, you can too.
Welcome to episode 18 of the Best of Me podcast. My name is Samora Mangesi, and this is our small little community on the interwebs where we take a look at self-love and self-respect through reevaluating our relationships with vices such as alcohol, drugs, sex, gambling, and interpersonal relationships. Now, the one thing I will say is that a lot of the time we might find social media to be something that is a little bit negative. However, in the last couple of months, especially since I've been sober and more so having started this platform, I think social media has been a really great tool for me, especially the algorithm. Let Mark Zuckerberg listen to us because he has put me in touch with some really great people. I think when I started speaking about my sobriety, I started getting a whole lot of sober content on my feed. And one of the people that popped up was Fix. Fix?
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm living in the magic of life. How are you?
I love that response. I love that response. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yo.
Hey.
Now, Fix, before we jump into it, I want to start off with asking you, what's your poison? Because on the way here, we were chatting about like 6 and 2 for 1 and all of that. So what is your poison?
My poison these days is probably social media.
Okay.
You just mentioned, thank you, Mark.
But before that, what do you drink?
Oh, what do I drink?
Yes.
I drink rooibos tea. I drink sparkling water.
Okay. Unfortunately, I don't have a kettle here with me.
Okay.
However, what I do have is some sparkling water.
Metziachas, my favorite.
So, Fix, as we know, you go to a bar, the barman asks you, what's your poison?
Okay.
And that's generally the socially acceptable
Thank you.
understanding of what's your poison. However, in the context of this show, poison in its inherent form is something that you ingest and it eats you up from the inside.
Yeah.
And that happens a lot with mental health issues, societal issues, familial issues, relationship issues, self-esteem, all of these things. So with that in mind, I'm going to ask you the question again. Fix, what's your poison?
Limiting beliefs.
Okay.
Limiting beliefs. They're getting less and less poisonous over time as I take the time to be still and know myself.
Yeah.
But this poison has been with me for as long as I can remember. The poison of not feeling like I was good enough. The poison of abandoning myself because other people's needs and priority and my need for them to like me was more important than my need for me to like me.
Ooh.
So that self-abandonment, that self-abandonment was very real for me as a poison.
Would you say that because for those who don't know, Fix does a lot of things, but where I know you from is being an actress.
Yeah.
And being in entertainment and being in media, you kind of have to have approval from a lot of people. You need the buy-in of a lot of people. And sometimes you don't just need the buy-in of the executives who are deciding that you're a part of this project, but you also need the buy-in of the public when they watch whatever it is that you're a part of. So how does that then play in to those feelings, but then also still needing to have the approval of all of these people who are outside of you?
Yeah. I think you throw out the entire premise that you need them to begin with and that you need their approval to begin with. So this actually reminds me, when I was in my third year at NYU, we got to meet a lot of casting directors at networks like ABC or CBS. And yeah, it was our job to go in there and like charm them and be memorable. And I remember, her name is Marcy. She, a very well-known casting director. She was like, well, when you do audition, then you go get a callback.
Yes.
And then after the callback, then you go do your chemistry read. And during that chemistry read, there's a bunch of suits from the network around who decide whether or not you fit into this character. But then even if they like you, the contract might not be right. So they have to negotiate with your agent. And then you could get the role, but then also the show could be dropped after the first episode. But if it goes past that first episode, then you could go on for a first season. But the network could decide not to air it at all. And I was like, well, damn. And she's like, still don't buy your house yet because of whatever could happen, right? So all that is to say, I'm not in control of any of that. In fact, considering network executives or producers or even casting directors is such a waste of my brain energy. The only thing I have control of is how I show up by being my best self. And people will recognize that excellence everywhere that I go.
Yes.
So thinking about those guys, who knows? You could be perfect for a character. But then, guy is short. Then you don't get the role. You couldn't. And
you can't do an entire movie with the man on a soapbox.
No, I feel sorry for anyone who had to act as Tom Cruise. Because it's like he could have been perfect, but yeah, he was just not vertically gifted.
Take us back to your upbringing. Where did Fix grow up? What was the family structure like? And how was that in total?
Can I drink?
Yeah.
So, ke holetse Lesotho Maseru.
Okay.
And I come from a Pan-African family.
Okay.
So my father's from Lesotho, but lebitso la hae ke Mthwalo, which is a Zulu Xhosa name. So on my father's side, re Matebele, but a Lesotho. So huge South African heritage there. My mother is Kenyan Tanzanian, so I'm half East African. And so the food that I was eating was East African. The culture that I was consuming within the home, my mom is Muslim, was very much East African. So I grew up in that sort of not just mixed family, but also then mixed community.
Yes.
I went to private school, so it didn't feel like I stood out that much. Everyone spoke English. My sister only came later.
Yeah.
And my parents did the best that they could, both very educated. They met at the University of Nairobi, which is how my dad came back with an East African wife. And education was always valued. I had more than the typical Mosotho girl. So in that regard, I felt like I grew up privileged. My parents were married. They got divorced when I was 11 years old. And that's when a lot of the cracks started to show up, you know. I mean, the cracks had shown up leading up to that. In fact, I actually remember feeling like, I really want these motherfuckers to get divorced. I need these bitches to get divorced today.
Yeah.
And they did. So I got my wish granted, but I ended up going with my dad. The custody was given to my father, which is where the dystopia sort of started. Because it was always like, yeah, when they get divorced, it's just be me, my brother, and my mom, and we're going to be good. The court said, no, you're going to go with that guy. And I would say that's when I felt exposed to the world.
It's so wild you say that, because when you were explaining the makeup of your family, I was imagining an episode of Generations and how they always say they are in one household, yet they are speaking different languages.
Right. Hey, we all understood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess it is the representation of South Africa and its families, actually, because a lot of the time you do find that. Was there a specific reason why your dad was given custody?
So I'd just say power and connections.
Okay.
As we all know, generally children go to the mother.
Yeah.
But in this case, there were some threats that had been made against us, against my mom, and maybe some strings pulled as well, because in his mind, that would have been the most hurtful way to get back at her for leaving him. In fact, actually, he ended up just being like, "Ibile wena ungasing divorcee. I'm divorcing you," type of thing, you know? So it turned around and he divorced her. I think ultimately it was her divorce that went through. Either way, it was a way of getting back at her. And she allowed it. She allowed it for several reasons. It was safer that way.
Yeah.
She was able to leave the country and go get her PhD. I would never have ended up in New York if my mother hadn't made that sacrifice. It was hard is an understatement. Take a mother away from her children. Like, I remember times when we didn't leave the house much, but when we did and crossed into South Africa, my mom was in Pretoria. Okay, we'd be in freaking Welkom, and I'd still look on the road on the way to Welkom just to see if maybe we would pass my mother. That's how much I missed her.
And when you say the cracks started to show, take us through some of those cracks. Because I think that once we take a look at those cracks, because that is the foundation. I mean, at 11 years old, you're still being formed, you know, and then we can explore how that foundation with its cracks built the fix we see today.
Yeah. I think one of the first things I remember after my mom left was how empty the fridge was.
Ooh.
That was one of the first big ones.
Yeah.
And I just remember thinking, oh, this is new. It must be because she's not here anymore and the person that we're with is not thinking about this. There was a value to her. There was a warmth. There was a nurturing. Also, around that time, I would say that I had been sexually abused once when I was, I think, around 4 years old. That was a very suppressed memory. And then the second one happened when I was 11, 12. And so that was a major crack in terms of what I was exposed to. I also had a stalker. He wasn't old, like he was like 22, but I was maybe like 14.
Okay.
And he would follow me around, follow me to my cousin's place, hang around, you know, Racecourse, which was this neighborhood that we then moved at. So we moved out of university housing, which was provided by my mother's job, to housing that my dad had secured, which was relatively on the other side of the track. So I would say, like, I was all of a sudden exposed. And, you know, talk about cracks. I knew that things weren't going right in the household. I was part of that household, but now everybody knew. And people didn't get divorced. Like, at the time, no one was getting divorced. So there was some stigma around it, but I knew it had to happen. Literally, the only thing was that we ended up with my dad. That was, it was going fine. We were getting divorced
You were
happily.
on track.
Yeah, we
for
were
the
on track
perfect
with our
divorce.
until that happened. And yeah, that I feel like really exposed me to a world that my mother had done her best to shelter me from. Not to mention also, you know, just physical abuse. Because you're a teenager and you're naughty.
Of course.
You know. And I do think that I resembled my mom. Like, so when my mom left, I took that place in the house, whether it was cooking the same foods, because I'd learned how to cook Swahili food, whether it was dressing the way she used to dress with her kangas and stuff around the house. I think that also for my father was difficult to witness this daughter of his who's turning into the woman that just left him.
It's a very difficult thing when we speak of sexual abuse and sexual trauma, especially at a younger age, because I think a lot of people in South Africa have been through it. whether it is at the hands of someone older, like, you know, an older family member, an older community member, or even sometimes in our age mates.
Yeah.
Because kids learn things from older kids. And you'll think that you are taking your child to a play date. Gandhi, they're going to play Poppy Ace, and this one learned something somewhere, and then there's stuff like that happens. I'm not sure if you are comfortable just to touch on the suppressed one, because at around 4 years old, that must those must be really extraordinary circumstances, right? And then maybe also taking us into how that then also plays into the one later on, and how that's shaped you as well.
Yeah. So I won't get into a lot of detail, but the first encounter was with someone who was older, who was supposed to be protecting me.
Yes.
And I only came back to that memory, or that memory came back to me when I was 24, 25. So I had suppressed it for 20 years.
Yeah.
And when it came up, you know, there's a bit of a helplessness because I can't go back and find the person and confront them. But it made a lot of things make sense in terms of what early exposure to sex or sexual energy does to a child. Because I think as much as the memory was suppressed, the shame of it stayed with me.
Yeah.
And I think it was the same also when I was 12 years old. Now, this was someone who was my age, who, in fact, I honestly, I can't even say that I saw who it was, but it was one of those sleepover situations where it has to have been one of the people in the room. So that was someone who was like closer to my age. And again, putting other people's needs in front of mine, not wanting to get them in trouble. Also feeling like nobody would believe me. I remember I was walking with our helper in town. I remember exactly where I was. I can show you. I was opposite Standard Lesotho Bank on Pioneer Road. And I was just about to tell her what had happened that weekend. It was my birthday weekend.
Yeah.
I couldn't. I was like, she's going to turn around and blame me. She's going to call me names. And I actually got sick. I got an infection from that. So, and this is after the divorce, right? So I had to then tell my dad, I'm sick.
Yes.
What is he going to think I was doing, you know? But I'm so grateful that the doctor was a doctor, right? He didn't share really much with my dad. I was just like, they're going to know what happened, and they're going to think that I'm here at all 12 years old having sex with boys. And so there was so much that was just going through my mind at the time. I just ended up not telling anyone.
And then, first of all, really sorry that you had to go through that.
Thank you.
That informs a lot in who you become later on. And I want us to maybe try and draw the parallels and maybe its influence into your later years, into the destructive behavior, the drinking and all of that. And we can circle back to it. But tell us about the first, your introduction to drinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I told my friend this story the other day and I laughed alone because no one got it. But it was Vin Coco.
It's in Coco! Oh, coconut.
Yeah, Vin Coco.
With the palm tree in the front. Oh, I know Vin Coco.
Okay, thank you. Someone understands. Okay, I have a bit of an inkling of how you must have grown up as well. Because Vin Coco was like the village Malibu. Okay?
Yes, yes.
And I just remember one of my girlfriends was just very enthusiastic about it. She's just like, we have to get our hands on this. It's nice. It's delicious. You know, dad's never around. So we're going to go to your house and we're going to buy a bottle and we're going to drink it. The only thing I remember is that I was trying to start my aunt's car with a teaspoon after that. But But in my defense, it did actually
start with a teaspoon. I get it. Was it a Toyota?
It was a Nissan.
Okay.
It was same thing.
Same
right?
thing.
Yeah, Japanese.
Same thing.
So there I was, but I was just with a random teaspoon trying to start. And I was like, I think I'm drunk.
How old were you at this time?
15.
Okay.
Yeah, I was 15.
Yeah.
So this must have been between changing schools. So I went to the international school in Machabeng, which was in Maseru, called Machabeng, which was on the Cambridge Oxford system.
Yes.
Then I had a 6-month gap in between before doing my grade 11 and 12 in Bloemfontein. So during that 6 months, I did everything. I debuted on TV in that 6 months. Also, Vin Coco happened in that 6 months.
Yeah.
So that was, to answer your question, my first exposure to drinking. And I really didn't want to. I'd seen how it had affected my father. And I was like, I don't want to be that. But how many times do you hear these stories that like, Mutena also, nah, I'm going to do everything that I can be to not be like this. And then you be like this. It's just those, you call them generational curses, but they're traumas that are passed down, brain wiring that's passed down. So in high school, when I was at my second school, I got hit with this revelation. I was like, there's no prize for being a good girl.
Yes.
Because I was the good girl at Machabeng for 5 years and I didn't get a prize. I was ranked 3rd in the whole grade. I got like A's and no one really cared.
Yeah.
So at this boarding school, I'm going to get my grades, but then I'm going to drink. I'm going to be with boys. I'm going to party. And I feel like that's where the pattern really kicked in of abandoning myself with men and then soothing myself with alcohol and trying to like party the fun, the pain away. That it started in boarding school.
You know, when you say abandoning myself with men and soothing with alcohol, I have a lot of stories like that myself.
That cycle.
that very pure. And then there's the weight of it, especially if you've been in a relationship with someone and they've ill-treated you. And then you go back again and they ill-treat you again. Because now there's that thing of I've got nobody else to blame but myself. Right?
Yeah.
And then for me, a lot of the time then the soothing with the alcohol came because of that. Because now it's no longer about what the other person did. It's about me abandoning myself by going back to this person and allowing them to do this to me again when they had shown me previously who they are. And it's something that I've been working on. But a lot of the time I find that I overcorrect. And now I'm just on the other end of the spectrum where I'm just like, I don't have time for anybody. I don't want anybody. I don't want to do anything. And I'm just going to be single. And now it's been 5 years of being single. So you're just like, so yeah, tell us a little bit about your, when you say abandoning yourself with men specifically.
I'm looking at you like, at least you had the self-awareness that you were abandoning and that it was you. I had no clue. I literally thought sex was love. I thought sex was you showing me that you loved me. I thought attraction was love.
Yeah.
I thought attraction was spiritual. I thought that it was predestined that we would meet each other at a time like this and fall in love. And roll around on the bed. This is it. You are the husband that God has sent me. At that time, I'm 18 years old and he's got a girlfriend. So when I say the pattern started then, literally my first had a full-on girlfriend. So talk about abandoning yourself. I went there with my eyes wide open. Yeah. I was like, I know she's here, but me too, I still want.
Did you want him to choose you?
I didn't just want him to choose me. I expected him to choose me fully.
Yeah.
I expected him to choose me because he was my first love, you know? So I expected him to choose me, knowing full well he had a girlfriend. And I don't know why. And when it ended, because it ended about a year after high school, when it ended, I was shocked. And now I'm like, but why? Were you shocked? Yeah.
You know, I'm just listening to this and then thinking back to some of the other things that you have said. Because again, going back to the sexual assaults and how that rewires you, right? And how it rewires your definition of what sex is and love is and all of those things. It literally could have been the signs of that kind of creeping back just through what you're telling me about love, sex being love, right? The rewiring of, or trying to redefine it in your own mind because of the trauma that you had gone through. And a lot of people go through that. And a lot of the time, I mean, it expresses itself in different ways. Some of the times we see it through promiscuity.
Yeah. Oprah talks about that all the time.
Yeah.
Because she, I believe, was also sexually assaulted. And she talks about how it did result in promiscuity because on some level, it felt good. And even admitting that to yourself as a young person, there's a lot of shame in there. So it's interesting because I haven't necessarily tied or taken the time to tie my romantic life back to those specific assaults. I tied it back to, like, you know, abandonment within the family, a tough divorce, a difficult dad. But yeah, in some ways, those incidences where I was violated probably did set me up for me to choose violation, but in different ways. In the future.
Yeah. When did you realize that one, I don't like this thing and how I'm going about my relationships?
Yeah.
And then also, did this also coincide with the time you realized that you didn't like how you drank?
There is so many times that I realized I didn't like it. And there's so many times that I realized that alcohol was involved. But it just didn't occur to me that I could choose to be different.
Yeah.
I think, you know, there was just always so much drama. There was just always so much drama to the point where I was just like, I guess this is me.
Yeah.
You know, this is, I mean, even my former marriage, just even that was drama. It didn't have to be, it was drama. So there's just a part of me that knew all these years, but it just didn't occur to me that my life could be any different.
By the way, I, for the longest time, thought that your marriage was fake. I thought it was a publicity stunt.
I mean, I think on some level it has to have been. It's just that I didn't orchestrate it. I was just a puppet.
Because I mean, there was a lot happening. I mean, in the black cat's life at the time.
Yeah, you know? That took me a while. Are you talking about peanut butter?
So there's a lot happening there at the time. So I looked at it, and of course, being on this side of media and the screen, a lot of the time you kind of question these things. So I didn't really pay it much mind after that.
Yeah.
But now, obviously, hearing that there was actual relationship dynamics behind the headline, you know, it's always a little bit of a for me, because I now need to disconnect from that idea that okay, this was just purely for show, and actually connect with the fact that there was an actual relationship here.
Yeah. No, there was a lot of it for show. And I think that would be a common thread again in all of the sort of serious romantic encounters that I've had.
Yeah.
I think, I'm not sure why, but from a young, I know why. Because I wanted to be a daddy's girl.
Yes.
Really, really bad. I just happened to not have a dad that could give that to me. So I wanted to be important to somebody. And I also think that's probably why I chose the path of acting. I wanted to be seen by somebody, heard by somebody. I just wanted to be somebody to someone. And so my trend was to seek the highest status person that I could. And that's probably what got me in trouble in that regard, because I was just so blinded by the flashing lights.
Yes.
You know? But yeah, it wasn't any different than the relationship that was before that or the one that came afterwards. I just wanted to be something to somebody.
It's so wild that you say that, because I often say, well, I've said before multiple times before, I decentralized a lot of things and a lot of people in my life. But I would always say, I just want to be accountable to someone. I just want, like all of those things. And it sounds really great, right? Up until you realize that, who am I outside of these relationships? Who am I outside of the romantic relationship? Who am I outside being so-and-so's son? Who am I outside of being so-and-so's friend? Who am I outside of the job that I have and the shows that I do, right? And then now you kind of need to sit with yourself and say, do I know myself outside of these things? Because there's when you don't know how to be yourself outside of a relationship, for instance, you then morph yourself to then fit the mold for the next person.
Oh, yeah.
And if you are dating, let's say serial dating for a number of years, 5 years, 10 years, you lose so much of yourself because you've changed so much to fit into everybody else. And this is why I've been single for the last 5 years, because a lot of it has been trying to really figure out who I am and shed off all of these things that I've learned through the relationships that I'd been in, through the friendships that I had, which were very codependent. And now being like, I'm okay being myself. I'm okay with learning who I am. I'm okay with understanding, how does Sam react in a certain situation when he doesn't need to consider what a partner thinks, Yeah. Because you have all of those considerations when you're in a relationship. And I think it's been eye-opening for me, getting back to myself. And I think that's why this platform is very much about self-love and self-respect, because I had to go on a journey of learning how to love myself again,
Yeah. What you said. Tell me more. I'm just listening to you like, yeah, that's exactly what I had to go through as well. I remember whatever person that I was with adopting their behaviors, whether it was their fitness routine or where they hung out, right? 6, 2 for 1.
Exactly.
I wouldn't have known what 6 was, really. What else? I mean...
Wait, hold on. How often did you go to 6?
Back when I was married. Oh,
yes, when you were married.
Often.
So I was at 6 not too long ago, like sometime last year. And I made a comment about the photos that popped up on the screen.
What? Okay.
Yes, because there were photos of your ex-husband with his ex-wife.
Ah, right.
A lot of the time just kind of really going, and I made a comment of like, I wonder how these people feel when they're here now with their new partners and these photos pop up. Did any of those photos pop up at the time when you were there?
Nah. At the time, there were actual photos stuck on the wall. Yeah, but of other people. My tenure at 6 was dependent on that specific relationship.
Yes.
So I really wasn't much of a regular there.
Yes.
But I'm bringing it up to say that it then became the hangout because that was my person's hangout, right?
Yes.
But also like traits. I just remember my mom just looking at me like, who is this person? Like walking into spaces, being very, very loud and all eyes on me. That wasn't me. That was certainly a behavior that I had adopted because I didn't know who I was. I hadn't taken that time. And, you say, yeah, you're single for 5 years, which is fine. But I think there's a difference between like doing that and learning about yourself, healing, doing things that you want to do, and just being like, no, I'm just single because men are trash. Or I'm scared. We're meant to couple.
Absolutely.
We're meant to find love and procreate, but also grow together, build together. It's
great to find that at a level where you are. I mean, you don't necessarily need to be whole, but you need to be on a journey of at least trying to become.
Yeah, otherwise you're going to attract the same situations, but just different faces.
Absolutely.
And I think you had asked me earlier, like, when did you realize? And I said, I think I'd always realized, but I just surrendered to the fact that maybe I couldn't change. But I realized it again, maybe 2-3 years ago. But then I had sort of known that I could change. That was when I had my spiritual awakening. That was when I started meditating. I started reading books. I started watching, programs on YouTube about personal development. And honestly, just hearing stories of people who had transformed their lives helped me believe that I could transform my life as well. Because by the time the last relationship rolled around, I was almost standing next to the relationship.
Okay.
Because it was so the same to everything else that I'd experienced. I wasn't really getting phased or emotional about it because I knew that it was me. Finally, I was just like, oh, it is me. And this is actually not going to work. I don't know how I'm going to get myself out of it, but this is not going to work because it's me and I haven't changed. Of course, I'm going to go through this.
And we like to call it a type when it's a pattern.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just falling into the same pattern all over again. Living in New York, how was that? Because there's a lot that happened there. There's the businesses, there's the bankruptcy, there's, falling off your bike. So just like touch on living in New York for us and maybe, how then also being in New York kind of added to you and the alcoholism.
Yeah. No, New York City is a very interesting city because it's so big.
Yes.
And you will be attracted to whatever it is you are on the frequency of. You will find your people. If you insist on being broke, you will find other broke people. If you insist on being an alcoholic, you will find other alcoholics. If you insist on being a rich Eastern European model who dabbles in waxing, you will find that crowd. So I think I definitely found my broke, starving artist crowd in New York.
Yeah.
And I tried so hard to break out of it there, but it is a pervasive paradigm. I mean, it might actually be the birthplace of the starving artist,
yes.
New York City. But it does attract ambition. It attracts hustle and energy of hope, which I think makes the city what it is. But I lived more than one lifetime in that city. I lived a married lifetime.
Yeah.
I lived a student lifetime. I lived a business owner lifetime. I lived a web series creator lifetime. It was a lot, but it was also home. Because I had to make it home. So my friends became my family. I'd spend holidays that we don't have here, like Thanksgiving with my friends in Boston or San Diego. And I was that version of myself. So it's interesting now to look back because sometimes I'll be meditating or I'll feel a sensation that takes me back to a very specific place in Brooklyn, for example. And it honestly feels like that's someone else. It's someone else's life, but it's my life. But I'm also so different. it's really hard to even know where to start, but I went there to get my master's in acting at NYU, and
Yes.
I had a full scholarship, and I lived in Manhattan, but school was very rigorous. So sometimes you'd have 14-hour days and you wouldn't see the city. I didn't see the city for 3 years. The program is 3 years. And every time a semester ended, I was on the plane home because I wanted to come home so badly.
Yeah.
And I got my training. I'm so grateful for the opportunity, for my teachers, for my classmates, for the school, for the legacy of it all. But that was actually where my plan ended. I didn't plan to stay in New York for 10 years. The idea was that I was going to go get my education and come back home. But because of everything that was happening in South Africa, re-drama, but also because I got a new vision after partnering with someone. I was like, oh, maybe we can make a go at going international with this.
Yeah.
So I started to build a new kind of future, but he was always a part of it in a way. And when that ended, that confused things even more because that was unexpected. I went through a divorce by myself in such a big city. I wasn't around my family. On top of that, I wanted a green card and was in the process of getting a green card, but couldn't leave the country because of the administration of that time. Also, COVID happened. So there was this coalescence of what would seem like tragic events that kind of kept me there. So I was kept there for a combination of hope. It was a combination of hope, but also problems. I was just putting out fires. I was like, okay, if I can just get this green card, then I can get the proper agent, then I can work, So I was just constantly behind the 8 ball.
Yes.
I was feeling like I always needed to catch up, or that opportunities were missing me. But then I was also having this awesome international experience as a woman, no kids. I can fly to the West Coast and experience what it's like there, which is exactly what I did. In 2021, I got unemployment benefits.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yes.
Well, yeah.
Very nice. In USD.
Yes.
Unemployment benefits. And it was like $8,000. Boom.
For how long?
Overnight in my bank account.
This is for a period of how long?
It was a period of, I hadn't claimed it for maybe a couple of years.
Okay.
And so it had like racked up.
Yes.
So I was like, I'm going to move to LA.
Yeah.
So I did. And I moved into a hostel. Okay. They call it co-living.
Yes.
And it was a nice place. It was modern. They had cleaners. They changed our sheet. It was nice. And it was right in Hollywood. But I was still in that same trap. My relationships looked the same. My money looked the same. My opportunities looked the same. It was the most frustrating thing ever. Because you also think from an artist, an actor's perspective, LA is like the place, right?
It's the dream.
And I'm here and I'm literally on Hollywood Boulevard. My address was, later I got an apartment and my address was literally 1750 Hollywood Boulevard. And I was still sitting there like, okay, when's my Oscar? But so I had the opportunity to do those kinds of things. Even just starting a business, it's relatively easier to like get it going to some extent. Regulation's a bitch in our country, but the culture of entrepreneurship is very much alive.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed that. And again, I found my people in New York City. Oh, you're starting a business? Why don't you go to the SBA, do this? There's a lot of people, a lot of support. So that got tiring, or rather, that became insignificant when I fell off my bike. Because all of a sudden, I was on my own in a hospital, and I didn't understand why I was on my own in a hospital away from my family. Other than that, I chose this life. And I was just like, well, if I can choose it, I can very much unchoose it.
Yeah.
And
I think it's very important for people to understand that, because we think that we are the victims of circumstance all the time. Yet sometimes we are the victims of circumstances that we created ourselves.
Yes, all the time. I would argue all the time. I mean, between the ages of 0 and 7, when your subconscious mind is being programmed to be a certain kind of way and you absorb certain traumas and survival mechanisms so that you can survive in your environment, sure. Circumstances are thrust upon you in that regard. But if I'm going to speak to that specifically from a spiritual perspective, you chose that.
Yeah.
You chose to have those parents so that you could come in and deal with that karma. So in essence, it's all you. It was always you, and it has always been you.
Darkest period?
Yo. Yeah. No, there've been a few. There've been a few. You know, you'd think it would be when my business closed or when I filed for bankruptcy. I skipped into bankruptcy court, okay?
Yeah.
And they thought I was lost. I was like, no, I am absolutely meant to be. I'm right where I belong. And I want to get this over and done with. My darkest point would have been around the time of my separation with my ex-husband. I was feeling so much pain that I had to call the suicide helpline. And I called them. They made me hold for 7 minutes, which I was just like, this is just great.
Like 7 minutes. A lot can happen in 7 minutes.
Yeah, but maybe the New York hotline is a little more busy than the rest, which I gave grace for. So I was just like, it's fine.
Or maybe it's also, hey, I mean, a lot can happen in 7 minutes because you could be holding there and you can be like, is this really me? Like, am I?
Yeah, you could
am I really?
reconsider.
You could reconsider in the 7 minutes, or you could be like, actually, you know what? Fuck this. I'm tired of holding. I'm going to go and do this now.
Yeah.
So it's a catch-22. You know, 7 minutes is a long time, though.
It is, and I was clocking it because I was like, for real. But someone came online. He sounded like a white man, which at the time, you know, I was just like, okay, what could he have to say that would in any way soothe me in this moment? But he was great. Like for me, he was an angel. Because the pain, that pain wasn't just that pain. It was the pain of my childhood as well. It was the pain of wanting to be a daddy's girl. It was the pain of then losing my dad, who I had lost 6 months prior. So it was all coming together. Anyway, he proverbially walked me off the ledge.
Yes.
And I just got about the business of surviving. I think I was just, another thing that marks New York specifically is that I was in survival mode pretty much the entire time. So, and you know, cue the drinking, cue the drugs. I mean, I did some drugs. I'm not a big weed smoker. I'm not a weed smoker at all.
I'm not a weed smoker either.
In Los Angeles. So I ended up spending 18 months in Los Angeles. I got into cannabis because the culture is so real there. So anyone, even if you're not a smoker or a weed person, you will find your thing because someone is at your level and has created a product for it. So I got into gummies and stuff for a time, but it wasn't really my thing. My thing in Nili, the joints.
Oh, yeah.
It was the joints, honey. And I always either ended up with guys who did not drink at all, but were happy to juice me up.
Oh, yeah?
It's a thing.
Yeah. It's like feeders.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I just remember thinking, you don't want the best for me. You just want to take advantage of me because I actually can't stand you. But I'm too asleep to realize, and I'm medicating with alcohol. So I was like now in a trap, you know, and I kept on falling into them. So it didn't matter if the guy drank or didn't drink. Most of them did. And most of them drank a lot. And, you know, I'm not one of those people who said I'm going to be sober on the 19th of whatever. Yeah. So I'm not counting days, but I think I'm 7-8 months in.
I also think, I know it's end of March, beginning of April when I stopped.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like a major, also like a lot of the time, you know, if you don't go to a rehab, or if you don't have to like if you do things like that. So a lot of the time there aren't specific dates that you might have.
I see. Yes.
You see,
Yeah.
so it becomes a little bit more of a gray area because when do you count? Do you start counting from the last day you drank? Do you start counting from the first hangover? Do you start counting from the first full day that you went without drinking?
Right. Or the day that you decided.
Or the day you decided, so because you might decide 3 days after your last drink, actually,
Yeah.
so it becomes a little bit of a gray area. I understand
And I
that.
don't think that's important. I mean, I think that might be like a vanity stat.
Yeah.
I, for one, decided 3 days before I stopped because
Yes.
I still had 2 bottles of Prosecco in my fridge. And I loved Prosecco, okay? Anyway, but yeah, so with New York, a lot of alcohol. Also, being in the theater space, there's a lot of free wine, free beer. I tend to attract, at least at the time, attracted men who had the means to get me whatever I wanted to get, I always, and also me, I always had a little bit for the alcohol.
Yeah.
I always had a little bit for a Negroni, darling.
Jeez.
But Negroni is the devil's work.
Negronis are so strong.
That was my drink.
My drink was Long Island's.
Well, what you can't judge me. What you talking about?
Mine was Long Island's, and I would throw them back so much. And it would be Long Island's and Jägermeisters. Long Island's and Jägermeisters. There's a drink at Liquid Blue called Liquid Blue is right next to 6.
Yes, I know Liquid Blue.
Yeah.
Yes, I've partied there once.
So there is a drink there. Oh, what's it called? I forgot what it's called. But that used to be my go-to.
Can you imagine?
And
You've forgotten what it's called. How that is a big deal.
That is a big deal.
Right? Because at some point, the bartender wouldn't even have to ask you.
Exactly. So the whole thing about it was that it was probably one of the strongest drinks on the menu, right? And a lot of the time it was, I work Fridays and Saturdays and I'm coming out of work and my friends are already there and it's the playing catch up. Now everybody wants to leave at 2. I'm just getting my buzz. So then what happens is that they end up going home. I end up looking for the next place, go to Stones until 4, 4:30. Then you're driving all the way to Maboneng and you're going to a pavilion, which closes at like 7, 7:30.
Yeah, what's saying?
Yes. Or third place or, and now it's like 8 o'clock and you're like, I'm not going to go to sleep. I've still got a full day ahead of me that I need to get. So now you go to a Mai or you go for breakfast with people or you go to a market.
Right.
And it just becomes this whole cycle of really bad decisions.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that for me was a time that I look back at now, and just like you say, that you look back at it and you're just like, feels like someone else's life, feels like a completely different life, because I look at it and I'm just like, whoa.
Yeah.
What was that, brother?
Yeah, it's kind of like waking up from a dream almost.
Yeah.
But, the part that hit me was the sadness of wasted time.
Mm.
I mourned the wasted time and then I also mourned my peace.
Mm.
I could have had so much peace. In fact, story time. This is now one of the last big blow-ups of my life. Happened months before I decided to stop drinking. But then that I had to come to terms with the fact that, this alcohol thing, nothing good has ever come out of it.
Yeah.
I was flown to Johannesburg.
Yes, floon, darling. Floon.
Yes. And I had...
well, I mean, you don't have many options. It's not like the Titanic is still around.
Right? It's only going to be Greyhound. People go see bays with Greyhound. Okay? And they are paid for. Thank you very much. Okay. As long as he's paying.
Yeah.
So, I guess. But I was flown though.
Yes.
And... it was 6 days in Joburg trying to get to know this person. On the last night, there was a lot of alcohol.
Yes.
And on the last night, we had a beautiful date. I already knew in my heart that he wasn't the one, but I appreciated what he'd done for me over the past couple of days, showed me around the city, introduced me to his friends. But something about him was irritating my spirit. So I knew that when I got back home, that would be it. The last night, we come back after dinner, after drinks with another couple, and we were pretty drunk. I remember getting out of the Uber in Melville.
Yes.
And he was nowhere to be found.
What do you mean he was nowhere to be found?
It was 2 a.m. in the morning, and I had taken off my high heels in the car to be more comfortable on the Uber ride back home. And he was sort of rushing me out of the car, but I was still putting my shoes on. So he gets out the car, and by the time I get out, he's gone.
Like gone into the house?
I assumed so.
Okay.
It was like a building, like an apartment hotel.
Okay.
And then he reappears. So I'm like, okay, we're good. Did he disappear? You know, when you start like,
yes.
What?
Maybe he's just gone to pee.
Yeah, you know, you start to make excuses for a person. So anyway, there's 2 flights of stairs, and then there's 2 short little stairs at the top. Nothing hectic. He's behind me. I'm going up the stairs, and I literally trip on the last 2 stairs. And I'm trying to get up, but I'm in so much pain. My ankle is swollen. Oh, well, it wasn't swollen at the time, but it's in so much pain. And I'm expecting him to be like, are you okay? Help me up or whatever. Out of the corner of my eye, I literally see him like just go like this. Like raise his hands like hakirikere type thing. Then he proceeds to jump over me.
No.
And go into the hotel room and then close the door behind him. So I'm there thinking, okay, he's gone to put his bags down. He doesn't have no bags. Okay, maybe he's gone to get ice. I don't know. But in my mind, I was just like, he's coming back. You know, I was on the floor for 10 minutes before I gathered myself up to go into the room.
And you guys hadn't fought at dinner or anything like that? It was lovely. And
I got in. He just went on a rampage about how actresses are dramatic. And how if I wanted to go to the hospital, then we should get in the car now and go. Otherwise, I should just leave him alone. And again, we were both very, very drunk. I was very upset. I went to the bathroom, had a little cry. And I didn't want to make it an hour type cry. Because I was like, Fikile, at this point, it's you.
Yeah.
It's you. You saw the red flags. And you continued to drink around this guy as if he was safe to be around. You're the problem, because had you just held your drink, you probably wouldn't have fallen. This whole situation would have been avoided. I had a flight to catch the next morning. Next morning, my ankle was so swollen, I literally almost missed my flight because I wasn't moving fast enough.
What did he say the following day when he saw your ankle?
Nothing. So I asked him to take me to the hospital, which he did. And I already had my bags packed for my flight. And I said, you can just leave me here. It's fine.
Okay.
He didn't say anything. I had taken one of his, so he had given me a book, and as a last like sort of fuck you on my way out, I took another book. One. When I'm at the hospital, he sends me a long message about, how could you take my book? And but he made it like really deep. Like, if you want something, then you should go get it yourself.
Oh, he didn't even say you should ask for it. Just
yeah, no. So you know what I did after the hospital? I got into an Uber, dropped the book off at one of the shops downstairs, told him where to find it. My friend picked me up and I went to the airport. But that was, even then, like, I should have kept that goddamn book.
You should have kept the book. I would have kept the book.
But I was more worried that he was going to tell his friends that Fikile stole his book, as opposed to the disaster that I was facing. I couldn't walk for 2 weeks. I had to lie to my family. Yeah, by the way, Mom, that's what happened when I was limping last December. Sorry you had to find out this way, but at least it's not you finding out that I'm getting married again.
Yeah.
Next time I'll tell you.
Fix, we are out of time, unfortunately.
Yeah.
This has been lovely. There's a lot of stuff that you're doing that you're working on. There's a YouTube channel that we know of. Just take us through what some of the stuff that you're working on and how it is built to help other people. Because I also find that, in some way, more so, when you become sober and there's the alignment, there's a lot of things you want to do for people outside of yourself.
So many ideas. Gosh. Yeah. So I'd say the biggest thing that has come out of this is my Mind First platform.
Okay.
So I had my spiritual awakening years before I decided to quit alcohol. But quitting alcohol definitely opened me up to opportunity that I didn't know was available to me. And with Mind First, it started with my weight loss ebook because, no surprises there. You quit drinking sugar and ethanol. You just,
I lost 13 kilograms.
So. I lost 8 kilograms in my first month, but I was also like not doing sugar or flour. And so I put it all in the book. It's called Mind First, Mouth Second. The link is in my bio, but it's absolutely free.
Oh, wow.
So then in January, I launched the Mind First Circle, and that is a weekly sort of membership. It's a monthly membership, but I release weekly voice notes to help you get to the bottom of your food and alcohol addiction. And it's basically a guide in getting to know thyself. So I'm not saying stop.
Yes.
And I'm not saying this is the amount of food that you must eat. I'm saying, why are you eating the way you do? Why do you drink the way you do? Know that first. Let's work on that so that when you are ready to make a decision like I'm going sober, you literally can walk away. You can just drop it. So that's the Mind First Circle. And now out of the circle, I just finished recording a course. So I'm making it a full-on course, and it's going to be a 12-week program. It's called Your Last Weight Loss Program. And it's basically all the principles that I learned using my mind first, the mind that I found with the clarity of being sober.
Yes.
But using my mind first to actually get outcomes that I want in my life, understanding the brain science of food addiction, alcohol addiction, how you can set your life up, your meals up, your routines up. But ultimately, it really is about finding what is that root thing that wants to be soothed by these substances.
Absolutely. And I think you spoke when I first spoke to you about coming on here, you spoke about alignment a lot. And I think that is absolutely where we are aligned, because just these conversations for me are about people being able to identify certain things in themselves that they see in the guests that sit across from me and in me as well, and say, maybe that might be one of the reasons why I drink as much as I do. Maybe that's why I gamble. Maybe that's why I'm addicted to food. Maybe that's why I'm addicted to drugs. But seeing the back end of it and not just chastising people because of the behavior and how they, the expression of whatever it is. But let's take a look at what might be inside.
Yeah. And honestly, if you're on the outside looking from the outside in at someone who is struggling with addiction, it's also, yes, you can have compassion to say, Ish, there's something that's going on within you that you need to find. But also you don't have to be that guy, because sometimes people wake up only when they've lost the most important things in their lives.
Fix, we do have to close it. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you very much for being here. And, I always like to say that these are ongoing conversations. And if at any point you feel like there's something else, having walked the journey and now you've got this burning desire, want to chat about something, always at any point in time, hit me up and we'll make it happen, because sobriety is a journey. Becoming is a journey. We're seeking and we're looking for the best of ourselves. And it's always just great to hear the journey as people go on it as well. And before we say a complete goodbye. Got a little something here.
Ooh, the
For
Woolies
you.
bag, the money bag.
The money
The
bag.
money bag.
Thank you very much for coming through.
This is great.
That is for you.
Thank you. Sober. Did it say sober-ish?
It says sober-ish. So,
Love it.
So
Confuse
basically,
the enemy.
I mean, also sober-ish as in somewhat sober, because there's a note in there that kind of explains what soberish is.
Okay, cool.
But also it also speaks to sober-ish as in sober shit, which is the shit that comes with being sober, because a lot of the time we don't necessarily speak about some of the challenges that come with being sober, that having to deal with yourself,
Yeah.
you know, all of that stuff. So, it's also just an ode to people who might not necessarily believe that they want to be completely sober, but also let's do it responsibly if we are going to do it. Let's be mindful of why we're doing it. Let's just not do it just because everybody else is, you know. So, yeah. So thank you very much.
Thank you. I am going to wear the shit out of this.
Well, as per usual, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. And please, if you feel like there's someone who will benefit from this conversation, then be sure to share it with them. Also, if you haven't subscribed, subscribe, like, put on the notification bell so that you're notified every single Wednesday when we release a brand new episode. You'll find Fix on all of her social media platforms. I'm at Samora_Mangesi. It's
Fikile Mthwalo.
there we go. And I'll see you at the next one. Goodbye.
These are energies. These are states of being. This is how you are showing up in the world. No one owes you shit. There's no open up the industry. Nobody owes you nothing. You will learn that the hard way. You owe yourself to change the way you think about your place in this world. I want you to win.